Okay, so I think we can start. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Véronique Gauthier. I'm a yoga teacher. I also studied yoga therapy, and I work in particular with people with chronic health conditions like multiple sclerosis or other similar conditions, burnout, stress, and so on. And I also trained as a breathwork facilitator. And I was attracted to breathwork because I thought, oh, that's accessible to everyone. You know, even people with a lot of physical issues can do breathwork. So that was my first interest. And then I discovered a whole world and learned so much from breathwork training. And it has completely, not maybe transformed, but it really had a big impact on the way that I teach yoga now. And that's what I would like to share as well with you, is how to breathe in yoga, share some tips and some techniques. Unfortunately, last week, I went for a run in the beautiful hills in the Algarve and fell and broke my wrists. So I had planned to do a little slow flow with you, but it's a little bit challenging. So we'll do some interactive activities, and I'll demonstrate some of the poses, but it will not be a flow, because just right now, I'm very happy that breathwork is so accessible. I can still do it, but flow is a little bit challenging now. So, as I said, the topic, how to breathe in yoga. And maybe you have some of the following questions, or maybe if you're a teacher, some of your students might have told you, I'm a little bit confused. Sometimes I'm told to take a big inhale. Sometimes I'm told to expand fully on the inhale up to the collarbones. Sometimes I'm told to keep the core engaged, not to hold the breath in any pose. And anyway, what's the difference between pranayama and breath work? Is it just a buzzword? So this is the first question that I would like to address is, what's the difference between pranayama and breath work? And for me, it's like same, but different. So pranayama comes from the word prana and ayama, and it means the expansion or the control of the life force. So prana is the life force that animates everything in nature and in our body. And the aim of pranayama is to improve the body's ability to retain and to increase prana. And the main tool in pranayama is breathing. And that's where the confusion comes from, because the main tool is breathing in both pranayama and breath work. But it's not exactly the same, because you have other tools in pranayama like the bandhas, the mudras, you can do chanting, and the prana is influenced by what you eat, where you live, and so on. So it's a bigger picture than breath work. And also, pranayama is the fourth limb in the Patanjali's 8 limbs of yoga, and comes after asanas. And in traditional pranayama, that was very important. So the earlier texts about Hatha yoga and pranayama, they were quite clear that you need to do asanas first. You need to be able to sit in a steady pose, lotus, half lotus. You need to be able to sit steady. You also had to do loads of cleansing techniques, like to swallow a cloth and then take it out, put a tube through the nose and out through the mouth, do colonic irrigation. So all the cleansing before doing pranayama. And pranayama was to prepare, to steady the mind for meditation. Obviously, nowadays, pranayama is no longer as strict, so we don't do all the cleansing techniques. but the aim is still to build, to develop, to promote this natural life force. Yeah. But as I said, the main technique is breathing. Breathwork is more like a Western tradition, and it's about using breathing techniques as therapy. So the aim is different. This is a therapy rather than a spiritual practice. And it started, one of the earliest breathwork tradition is Buteyko breathwork, which was started in the 50s by a physiologist from Ukraine called Buteyko. And he basically used breathwork or breathing techniques, especially breath retention, to treat asthma and respiratory conditions. And then in the 60s and the 70s, we had other breathwork techniques like holotropic breathing that kind of recreated the LSD experience, so really transformative breathing techniques, or rebirthing to treat trauma. And since then, loads of different breathwork traditions and schools, like biodynamic breathwork, clarity breathwork, shamanic, loads. But for me, and the way that I learned breathwork is the awareness and regulation of the breath to improve our physical, mental, and emotional state. So in this sense, it is a therapy. We want to improve our body, our physical, our mental and emotional well-being. Yeah? But it is really important to keep in mind the evolution of breathwork and pranayama. So I've got two images there. On the left, it's actually a painting from 1890 nowadays. And it's important to keep the difference in mind because there was a different lifestyle. I mean, it's so obvious what I'm saying. Sorry, it's so obvious that I probably don't need to say it, but people, ancient yogis, lived differently, obviously. And pranayama came after the asanas. And I'm not saying that they didn't have stress, they didn't feel anxiety or fear or stress. But I think it was a different type of anxiety or stress or fear. Nowadays, people do breath work, maybe at the office between two meetings, or at the end of the day after commuting for 45 minutes or an hour, or at the weekend before running. Our lifestyle is so different, and that the way we breathe is different. And that's really the main point. The way we breathe influences the way we feel and the way we live. And the way we live and we feel influences the way we breathe. And this is because of this link that it's important to keep in mind how we should breathe when we do yoga or when we throughout the day. Yeah. The next slide, I'd like to just to maybe to prove my point, I'd like to do a little exercise, and it's based on a research published in 2010, where the researchers asked participants, to recall an emotion and to notice how they breathe. So that's what I'd like you to do now. I'd like you to take a moment and try to maybe remember something that made you angry. Not too much. Don't want to spoil your evening, but try to think about something that really annoys you, something that makes you angry. So we're not going to spend too much time, so maybe you only start to feel your breathing pattern changing. But just something that makes you really angry. And we'll have time at the end of the session to discuss, and maybe you can tell me that that corresponded to your own experience. But what they found out is that anger is associated with shallow inhalation, strong exhalation, and physical tension. Now, try to recall something that makes you a little bit afraid. Not too much, but just something that makes you afraid. And I'll show the answer now. Usually, again, it's not for everybody, but the majority of persons who experience fear notice that their breathing pattern becomes quicker. The breath becomes more irregular and shallow. And there's this feeling of a tight knot in the belly when the fear gets really, really stronger. I'm not going to go through all of them in detail. There are more emotions and breathing patterns, but I just wanted to give you some examples. When we feel depressed, the breathing becomes shallow, kind of lifeless inhales, long sighs, and sensation of fatigue. On the opposite, when we have positive feelings such as love, compassion, happiness, the breathing becomes deep and comfortable, energizing, and we've got an open, enthusiastic feeling throughout the body. So there's no doubt that each emotion has an impact on the way we breathe. And the way we breathe has an impact on the way we feel. And that's why, because of our lifestyle, we need to take into account our lifestyle when we do breath work. Or if you work as a yoga teacher and you've got your students coming in your room, it's really nice to pay attention to their breathing pattern. Notice, are they breathing fast, shallow, or which part of the body move? Because then you know how they feel and what they need. So I mentioned earlier the two images of then and nowadays, the different lifestyles. One thing that has changed is that now there are more and more cases of dysfunctional breathing. Dysfunctional breathing there are different types, but these are the main ones. So on the left, you've got the dysfunctions, and on the right, the optimal way of breathing. Dysfunctional breathing can be breathing through the mouth, especially at night, whereas optimal breathing is nasal breathing. The nose is made for breathing. There are loads of structures in the nose that filter, that warm, that purify the air that comes in. We produce nitric oxide that is antibacterial. When we breathe through the nose, it warms up the air before it comes into the lungs, which are really kind of sensitive skin. So we are meant to breathe through the nose, except when we do specific exercise. But the majority of the time, when we are just doing nothing specific, we should breathe through the nose, not through the mouth. One key dysfunction is upper chest breathing, rather than using the diaphragm. So a lot of people, instead of inhaling and feeling the expansion in the upper abdomen, they feel the expansion in the chest. I think it's not just due to stress, it's also cultural. Because we, especially women, from my experience, tend to want to hold the belly in and not to let the belly expand. And also the idea that Popeye, you know, like you breathe, you open your upper chest fully, but that triggers the sympathetic nervous system, that triggers the fight or flight response. Whereas if we breathe from the belly, it's more relaxing. Another dysfunction is to breathe fast. We should breathe slowly, 8 to 12 breaths per minute. Yeah? And the aim of breath work is to reconnect with our natural breath intelligence, with our optimal way of breathing. And for me, this is the number one tip. How to breathe in yoga is the tip how to breathe in life, not just in yoga, on and off the mat, through the nose, using the diaphragm, and breathing slowly. That should be the main focus before doing any other practice. Yeah. And when I started the breathwork training, I thought, come on, I've done yoga for 20 years. I can breathe, no dysfunction. And then I realized, actually, I had a dysfunctional breathing pattern. I was breathing through the mouth at night. I didn't know. So the next slide I want to show you is from a summary of a research from 2022. So it's a busy slide, but basically there was a research in Japan. They analyzed 1,933 young Japanese athletes and the way they breathe over 3 years, from 2017 to 2020. For 3 years, they looked at the way these young, healthy athletes breathe. And it's incredible because they found that 90.6% of them had a dysfunctional breathing pattern. They didn't use their diaphragm properly. And when I saw this research, I was like, wow. I mean, these are young, healthy athletes doing lots of sports, and 90% didn't breathe optimally. So dysfunctional breathing is far, far, far more common than we think. And that's also what I notice as a breathwork facilitator. Very, very often people, one of the common, is upper chest breathing, or people breathing in with the belly coming in. So the reverse way of breathing, yeah. So first tip, make sure that you breathe optimally, or that your students breathe optimally, first and foremost. And then you can start to use some breathing techniques to support your class, to support either some poses or the topic of your class, or to start a class. So there are loads of ways to use breath work or breathing techniques. Most of them come from pranayama, yeah. But to use them beside the asanas. And so we can do this as a kind of interactive activity. I'll ask the first 2 questions, and then I'll come out of the presentation mode. So just think about start of a yoga class. First one is, if you are a teacher, you notice that your students, or you know that they had a busy day, they are still kind of busy thinking about work, or if you are doing yoga for yourself, you think as well, oh God, I did this today and I didn't do that tomorrow, and monkey mind is going crazy. Just what type of breathing would you do? This is not a right or wrong answer. There are loads of possibilities. I just want to give you one, but there are loads of possibilities. Other scenario is No, you'll find you just want to maybe warm up a little bit the respiratory system. So I'm going to end the show, and I would like you to write your answers, maybe to the first question first, in the chat box. So what type of breathing would you do maybe with your students or on your own? Just to switch off before a class. Any suggestion? I cannot. Nice. Deep breath in. Great. I'm looking at the chat now. So we've got diaphragmatic, definitely. Alternate nostril breathing, great. Inhale through the nose, longer exhalation, that's very relaxing. Yeah, deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Nadishodhana, slow belly breathing. Yeah, 2 more. Nadishodhana, counting 4, 4, 6, square breath. Follow your natural breathing to begin. Nice. Just focus on breathing, Anna. Yeah, great. So these are all great ideas. Yeah, I like the idea of belly breathing, 3 parts breath. Yeah. So the one other idea that I suggest, so focusing on the breath, the way you breathe at the beginning is always good. It's like checking. How do you feel? What does your breath tell you? And that's a question I often ask. What does your breath tell you? Because the breath is a language. We saw that a breathing pattern is linked to an emotion. So what does your breath tell you? How are you feeling now? Just observe. Just observe. Breathe with your natural breath. Something that I like to do to switch off is also bumblebee or hummingbee breath, primary breath, where you can do it with both hands, but you close the ears with the thumbs and you place the index and middle fingers gently on the eyelids. You inhale through the nose and you hum on the exhale. And this is, I find it quite useful when people really have loads of thoughts going on. You're really still busy with their day, and to switch off. I find that quite powerful way, and it triggers the relaxation response quite fast. But you all had, you know, a way of triggering the relaxation response, lengthening the exhale and so on. And just taking the time to focus on the breath helps to calm down. Yeah. For the, or feel how your body moves on the wave of the breath is lovely as well. I love to say, feel your breath move your body and feel the breath move in your body. I love these, yeah. To warm up the respiratory system, one breathing technique that I like doing is the Viloma. Viloma is interrupted breath. It's not that popular. I haven't practiced it very often with other teachers, but basically, if you've got the 3-part breath, you know, first inhaling, expanding the upper abdomen, then the mid-chest, then the upper chest, you interrupt the breath. So you inhale from the upper abdomen and pause. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale mid-chest. Pause. 2, 3, 4, 5. Upper chest. 2, 3, 4, 5. You can do this. That's Viloma 1, and then you exhale slowly. Viloma 2 is you inhale fully and you interrupt the exhale. And Viloma 3 is you interrupt both inhale and both exhale. And the good thing about doing Viloma is, especially Viloma 1, when you inhale, pause, inhale, pause, inhale, pause, is that when you pause, you help to release or stretch the intercostal muscles, so the muscles between the ribs. And at the end, you feel that there is more space in your upper body. So that's another way to start. Now I'm going to share my screen again. So basically, I had for the busy day, need to switch off primary and warm up Viloma. And then what I find has really improved my teaching is that I use specific techniques with specific poses. Yeah. And for instance, chest openers. So I'm going to show you the reply that I have. Chest openers, the 3-part breathing. Yeah. And forward fold, 1-to-2 ratio. So inhaling for 4, exhaling for 8, or inhaling for 5, exhaling for 10, but lengthening the exhale, because when we lengthen the exhale, we help to relax the muscles, which we need when we do forward fold. If the topic of your class is balancing or equanimity, alternate breathing is an obvious one. But I'd like you to, if you want, to give it a try with the chest opener. So one of my favorite little chest opener, hope you can see me. I've got 2 blocks here. I place one at the highest level and the other one at mid-height. And then I like to do it as the start of a class for chest opening, lying down with the basically where a brow would be for the lowest one, and the base of the head on the highest one. And then you can have your legs bent or straight, whichever feels better. Yeah, and open your arms out to the side. Sorry, my cast is a little bit on the way. And then place one hand on the upper abdomen. Inhale and exhale through the nose. So first, this is the first part of Durga breathing. And then if you got both hands on the torso, you can move the other hand on your mid-chest. And now we're going to inhale, expand the upper abdomen and then the mid-chest. Exhale, release the mid-chest and the upper abdomen, like a mini wave. Inhaling from the bottom to mid-chest. Exhale, release. And you can visualize the movement of the wave, inhaling to the mid-chest, exhaling down. And now the full 3-part breath. Inhale, upper abdomen, mid-chest, upper chest. Exhale, soften from the upper chest all the way down. And repeat a few times, inhaling, slowly moving the breath from the upper abdomen all the way to the collarbones. And exhale, release. Let's take 2 more. One more. Good. To come back up, you can draw one knee to the chest, holding the knee and coming up. And you could also do, if you do it at the beginning, do it with the interrupted breath. So inhaling and then pausing for 5 seconds, inhaling, pausing for 5, inhaling, pausing for 5, and then exhaling. But this breath really helps to open the upper body and get ready for chest openers or back bends. The forward fold, let's do just a normal forward fold with the legs straight in front of us, the toes pointing to the ceiling, and you can slightly bend your legs if you want to. And we know that when we lengthen the exhale, it triggers the relaxation response, yeah? And it helps to relax the muscles. So we inhale, lengthening through the crown of the head. And as we exhale and gently engage the core, we exhale twice as long as the inhale. So let's say we inhale 2, 3, 4, exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale 2, 3, 4, exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do another one. Inhale 2, 3, 4, exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the other positive impact of using the breath like this is to focus the mind. Yeah, so it's like a meditation, because if you invite your students, or if you do yourself the practice, you focus on counting your breath, the mind gets quieter. It becomes a mindfulness practice as well. So this is an idea for forward fold. And as I said, balancing any breathing techniques where the inhale is as long as the exhale will be balancing. So alternate breathing, or even a square box, 4, 4, 4, 4, anything like that will help to stimulate balancing or equanimity in the body and the mind. Yeah. So there are loads of possibilities. That's why I really love breath work, because once you really feel, and once the impact of the breathing techniques, and when you understand how they work, and it's fairly simple rules. The inhale is energizing, triggering the sympathetic response. The exhale is more relaxing and stimulating the parasympathetic response. Then you can play with these components, yeah, and also integrates retention, of course. But it helps to support the practice and gives a lot of new ideas as well to change a little bit your practice. And I'd like to share my screen again, because something that is quite important is the intention that we bring when we breathe. Yeah. And that is also something to focus on when you do breath work in yoga. So that's another little tip, is associate an intention with the breathing pattern. And, you know, the technique itself will have a physiological impact on your nervous system, on your body. But this can also be increased with your intention. So you can cultivate specific qualities or have more like an emotional impact. And I'd like to give the example as well of Ujjayi breath, which is one of my favorite breathing techniques, the ocean breath. But it can have completely different impact, whether you do it in a kind of very strong, active way, or if you do it in a soft way. If you practice Ujjayi breath as kind of forceful, strong way, really the Darth Vader kind of breathing pattern, it triggers the sympathetic nervous system. It increases focus and energy, and it will stimulate the appetite and increase the heat, the internal heat. If you practice it in a soft way, with the sound barely audible, it's still Ujjayi, you're still contracting the glottis. But it becomes much more calmer, and it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system. You'll feel that your appetite is decreased, and it brings more balance. So the intention behind the technique is also really important. So I hope I didn't confuse you more, but just wanted to highlight all the potential that using breath work in your yoga practice has. Yeah, it can really enrich it and can change your practice. And really the invitation is to try it out, explore for yourself, and always ask yourself, what does the breath tell you? What does this breathing pattern do for me in terms of the way I feel, in terms of the sensations in my body? You know, all this is really, really important. So I'm going to now stop sharing, and we can and I'll answer some questions if you could. I hope you have lots of questions. Okay, so I see that there are 2 more. Sorry, I'm losing my cursor on the screen. Please, and if you want to, suppose you could unmute as well. Okay. Sometimes in yoga it's said we should breathe only with the nose. Is there a space to breathe with the mouth? Thank you for this question. Yeah, there is. So ideally, we breathe through the nose, you know, most of the day. But to practice, as a practice, breathing through the mouth is okay. And also, basically the difference is when you breathe through the mouth is far more energetic than breathing through the nose. It really stimulates the sympathetic nervous system. But that's what you will do most of the time if you go running. You know, if you do something very energetic. Okay, if you look at the top marathoners or the top, you know, sprinters in the world, they still breathe through the nose, and I don't know how they can do that. But for most of us, when we move faster, we will use the mouth because we get more oxygen quicker in. And breathing through the mouth, there are techniques, especially, one of our kind of most transformative breathing techniques, which is called conscious connected breath. We breathe through the mouth. Because we want to have this energizing impact. So definitely as a practice, as part of an exercise, using the mouth is completely fine. And it's also okay when you need to run faster or you need to have more oxygen. But you shouldn't do it when you are in a calm state or when you sleep. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Second question, what type of breath would you suggest as first thing in the morning if you need more energy and focus? Okay. If you need more energy and focus, I would, so more energy is focusing on the inhale. Yeah. So you could, to get the energy first, lengthen the inhale. Yeah. You can take, for instance, an inhale that will be 5 or 6 seconds, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, exhale for 3. So instead of doing ratio 1:2, you do ratio 2:1. And the main breathing technique for focus will be something like the square box, where you inhale for 4, pause for 4, exhale for 4, and pause for 4. So it helps you to be relaxed, but not too relaxed. So focused and relaxed. But as a rule, if you want more energy, the attention is on the inhale. If you want more relaxation, the focus is on the exhale. Is the intention only specific to Ujjayi? Could you give an example of intention setting for another pranayama? Yeah. So the intention for any, let's say you do the, let's take again the square box. Yeah. You inhale for 4, you pause for 4, exhale for 4, pause for 4. The focus can, I was going to say the focus can be focused. Yeah, the focus can be to be completely relaxed, or the focus can be to be really sharp and focused. And to, you can add a visualization. For the box breathing, for me, it's really the technique that you want to do if you are a brain surgeon. Like you want to be relaxed, but you want to be super, super attentive and sharp and focused. That's the kind of intention you want to develop in the square box breathing. Yeah. Or you can just say, just want to relax and pay attention to the square. Yeah. So Ujjayi is the one that where maybe it's more obvious, but try to see how you can develop certain qualities with the different breathing techniques. Yeah. I hope this helps you. But yeah, any pranayama, you can develop an intention and develop a quality. Yeah. 5 seconds pause on in-breath in Viloma makes for a very long inhale. Is that what you intended? Yeah. Yeah. So that's maybe not something that I would do with people who've never done breathwork before. So it's after a little while, but inhaling, and you need to inhale a little bit and then pause. Inhale again, and then pause. Inhale again, and then pause, and then exhale. But this is something that you build on. So maybe if you do it for the first time or with your students or yourself, just do 1 second pause. Yeah, and then 2 seconds, and then you lengthen. To really relax the muscles, 5 seconds would be what you would aim for. I have to go for a yoga class. Please send us the recording. Yeah. You're welcome, Pascal. What do you recommend for getting back to sleep in the night? How can I stop breathing through the mouth at night? Well, the way that I did it to stop breathing through the mouth at night, I took sellotape and I put sellotape on my lips. And I did that for quite a few months, actually. And it's incredible. I really didn't realize that I was breathing through the mouth at night. And I noticed the difference. So I just took normal sellotape. You can buy specific sellotape that have the shape around the mouth and, you know, keep the lips free, but I just did one like this. And sometimes I used it in the middle of the night, but I kept it. And one thing that I realized is I was less dehydrated in the morning. Another benefit is you don't need to get up at night to go to the bathroom because you are less dehydrated. So that's also a good point. And yeah, you just, you know, feel fresher in the morning. But it took a few months. And then I had to stop because my husband said, if the police comes and you die in the middle of the night, and they'll think I'll kill you because you'll have your mouth closed like this. So I stopped, but I do it from time to time just to make sure that I keep, you know, breathing through the nose. And just a little story that I read in the book by Nestor. You might have heard of this book, Breathe. He talks about this research by an anthropologist who studied North American tribes. I think it was the beginning of the 19th century. And he was wondering why they all looked so beautiful. They had beautiful teeth and they looked so healthy. And he studied, I don't know, 50 different tribes. And the only thing that they had in common was that when babies were born, the mothers would always put a finger on the lips like this of the baby for the first few months, so that the baby learns to breathe through the nose from the beginning. And we know now that if you breathe through the mouth, it has an impact on the shape of your palate and the way your teeth are and the facial features. But this was one of the things, and the many cultures, traditional cultures, believe that if you breathe through the mouth, you kind of have, you invite illnesses rather than health. So closing your mouth with a tape works. My son tapes his mouth at night, so he's just breathe through the nose. Yeah, this rushing, yeah, it helps as well with snoring. So it's really, I invite everybody to try just to see how you feel in the morning, and because otherwise it's really hard to know whether you're breathing through the mouth or not. So easy thing to do, and it helps with snoring, definitely. Good. Any other question? No? Well, if you have any other question that comes maybe later on, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. And also, I'd like to mention that so I created a course for the EkhartYoga Academy about breathwork. Breathwork for Life, where I go into more details about the biochemistry, the physiology of the breath, about the neural aspect of the breath, and pranayama, and we go through different techniques, and we go through different topics. And there is a discount code right now until Thursday, where you can get 20% off the course with the code Breathwork20. So BREATHWORK 20 for 20% off the Eckhart Yoga Academy course, Breathwork for Life. Please don't hesitate to contact me. I love talking about breathwork. I love sharing ideas. And also, if you try, to use some techniques with different asanas, or if you want to share, I'm more than happy to have a conversation about that too. Thank you very much. How many hours is the course? The course is 9 hours, I think. About 9 hours, yeah. Welcome. You're welcome. And something that I want to add as well, the field of breathwork is fascinating because it keeps expanding, and we keep having research finding from neuroscience, neurobiology, so we learn more and more, and it's a beautiful area to get into. Live class in the program, there isn't, but the details are all there. Thank you for sharing the information, Masha. Good. So thank you very much, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and you will get the recording of this session, and I hope it will help you on your yoga path. Thank you.